I'm Deandra Eftekar. I'm a student at Nashville State Community College, and I'm in the Occupational Therapy Assistance Program. Right now, I'm going to talk about a prep activity for clients with muscle tone issues and tremors. Our first client is a female with increased tone of the cervical flexors as a result of prolonged use of a C-collar. We're trying to decrease tone with this client. So I'm assuming that she's really stiff, either here or like this, from being in her C-collar, depending on how she wore it, how long she wore it. So our prep activity is going to be to work on decreasing that tone. We want her to kind of be able to look around as much as we can without causing pain. This is an easy activity that can be graded up or down depending on where she is in her healing. I have some sticky notes. Yes, they are baguettes and strawberries, kind of positioned around my wall here. And what we want to do is, for the purpose of this activity, I want my client to stand centered with this art piece that's hanging on the wall, and try not to move her trunk and legs, but only using her arms and her neck movement to see and retrieve these sticky notes. So it's kind of a weird angle. Let's see if I can that. So I would want my client standing here, centered with this, keeping her trunk and her lower body stable. I would say to her, can you find me the baguette sticker on the upper left? And I want her to be able to try her hardest to turn that neck and kind of fight that tone to reach over and grab the first sticker. To make it even a little more challenging, we could say, can you find the strawberry on your upper right, but use your left arm to collect that strawberry? So she's moving her neck and reaching with her arm to give that even more of a stretch, work out more of that tone. And then we could keep going, in that same vein. We could also, if we want to make it a little more challenging, we could have her sit, and we could say, let's say this was positioned just a little bit higher. I could say, okay, can you get the strawberry on your upper left with your right hand? So we're turning, stretching, grabbing the strawberry. So we're really working not only just the neck where the C-collar was, but the shoulders and the traps where she's surely got some more increased tone, not just in her neck. So this prep activity is obviously encouraging flexibility. It may seem to the client just kind of like a silly game, like a grabbing game, but you want to explain to them that this is relating to her functional task. So for her occupation-based activity that I have assigned to her that relates to this task is grooming. So if she is, sitting in her bathroom and she wants to curl her hair, blow dry her hair, whatever that may be, we're gonna need this neck to be able to flex so she can see what she's doing with her hair on each side. Let's say she needs to be able to, divide her hair in half to be able to curl or dry the bottom. We need that range of motion here as well as here. So that is a easy way that you could work on tone, of decreasing tone, and we can grade it up, having her sit, reach a little higher, use the opposite arm, or we can grade it down by putting these things a little closer to her, such as these two. We can have her here, and then just say, please look down, retrieve the baguette with your right hand. We're not looking down too much. We're only looking down about this much, but we're still getting a stretch to decrease that tone. Hi, I'm Deandra Eftekar. I'm a student at Natural State Community College in the Occupational Therapy Assistant Program, and I'm going to be doing a prep activity for a female client who has a mild tremor in the hand and wrist due to multiple sclerosis exacerbation. We're going to try to compensate for her tremors in this prep activity and occupation-based activity. So for our prep activity, we want the base as a non-slip mat. I have a rubber mat here. Pro tip, the ones for dogs are cheaper and come in more sizes than the ones for humans. So I have a dog mat here. It has a lip all the way around, so it's harder to push things off and have them spill over. I also have 2 different containers here, some different colored paper clips, and different sizes and thicknesses of rubber bands. So for our prep activity, we want to compensate for our client's tremors. They're exacerbated by her symptoms of MS, so what that tells me is she might be going a little too hard, and we need to conserve energy. So this is a seated activity, and we're only going to do 2 small things. If the client starts to improve a bit, we can grade this up, create a bigger range of tasks for her to do with her hands, but for the purposes of energy conservation, I only want to do 2 small things, and I want her to be seated while doing it. So we're going to start with our paper clips. And she can use her other hand to assist her with this one, but I really want her to be able to manipulate these paper clips. They are the kind that you fold out and then you can fold back in. To start with, just using her fingers and seeing what she can do. We can squeeze if she's up to it. If not, we're just going to manipulate these back and forth a few times. And then I want her to kind of organize them into piles by color. So we've got our blue ones, we've got our green ones, and of course she'll go a little bit slower, picking up with one hand if she can. And if she can gather, let's say, all the white ones in one hand at a time, even better. That's a more controlled movement, and that's what we're kind of looking for, is trying to control those movements. Now, it's just a mild tremor. So if we're about here, this should be an activity that she can do. If we drop a few, that's okay. We're on a non-slip mat. They're not going to go flying all over the place for her to have to collect, which is part of our energy conservation technique. We want everything right at her fingertips, so we're not tiring her out and exacerbating symptoms. After she's organized them into colors, another controlled movement could be to grab each color as a cluster, even if we're shaking, and deposit them into a container. I want her to kind of controlled, be able to put her hand in that container. This one has a wide opening, and I have thick hands and wrists, so she should be able to fit her hand in there without knocking against it, causing injury, anything like that. So we'll just gather our paper clips, get them in the bowl. Great. Now we have an organized bowl of paper clips. We're going to set it aside. Now we have our different rubber bands, and I want to have the client kind of hold these with the unaffected thumb and use those fingers to sort of stretch. Even if we're shaking a little bit, this is a really excellent practice in controlled, smooth movement to try to compensate, for those tremors. We want to try to practice being as controlled and smooth as possible. So manipulating and stretching these rubber bands is going to give a really good exercise, as well as kind of give her the feeling of what a controlled movement might be without having something that's going to fall or drop. okay? And then if we want to make this a little bit more of a challenge, I have another container here, and we can gather up similar sizes of rubber bands all on one hand, on the affected hand, and use a controlled movement with the hand and wrist to put it in there. Some of these bigger, thinner rubber bands are even great for doing like this if she wants more of a controlled feeling. Even if we have the tremor, it's a mild tremor, she should be able to hopefully use this as a little bit of an exercise that we can feel that sensation of a controlled movement. This is a prep activity for what I have assigned her occupation-based activity, which is organizing her work desk. She's got MS, she's got a mild tremor. I want her to be able to have everything at her fingertips on a non-slip mat at her work desk. So this is a preparation for that. We are, stretching, manipulating, compensating for her tremor. We can do this if her tremor gets worse with a weighted armband, but since she has a mild tremor right now and her symptoms may dissipate a little bit when she's got more energy and has renewed herself, I don't think it's necessary. However, if we would see that her tremor is a little worse than is reported, I would probably suggest a weighted armband for that. But I want her to be able to sit at her desk to conserve energy and have everything at her fingertips. And if she can implement some of this stretching into actually organizing her work desk and having some covered containers, that way if she spills it, we're not chasing these materials all over the place. I think it'll make her work life a lot more successful and conserve a lot of energy because we don't want to exacerbate those symptoms anymore.